Okay, time for another interview in place, and we've got a fun one this week. It's Julie Stansberry, and it's a long title again for another athletics employee. Interim Associate Director for Student Athlete Success Services. Did I
Yeah,
get that right?
you did. You did.
Okay. How you doing, Julie?
I am doing well. Doing well. I think what were we on week 20, maybe 21?
Who knows?
Who knows? Today I didn't even realize it was Thursday. I thought it was Friday. So that's basically how it's been for me lately.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of give an overview of, I do a lot of these interviews, and, you and I have a knowledge of each other, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. But I think that the good part about these interviews is that fans get a chance to see a lot of people that are behind the scenes.
Mhm.
So you being one of those, maybe talk a little bit about what you do and kind of the scope of work that you have.
Okay, so I'm going to start with back in the mid 90s. And as I tell recruits, it's when there was like the Stone Ages. I actually went to San Jose State. I started working though at San Jose State in 2005, and I kind of worked my way around the office. I was doing some admin work, I was doing business office work, I was doing compliance work, I was doing student services work, and I was able to really find what my niche was then, and it was student services. Started there doing like 50% student services, handing out their checks, handing out their books, and then kind of worked my way up to doing running SAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee, oversaw that. Then I went from that into full-time advising, and then after I think a couple years of that, I became the assistant director for the department for Student Athlete Success Services. And then just recently in March, actually, the first day of COVID was my first day on the job as the new interim associate athletic director for, no, associate.
Okay, so it's not just me.
It's not just you. I have this long title and I do a lot of work. That's basically what it boils down to.
Well, and I think it's important too, because we're hearing so much talk about, are we going to have sports this fall? How are we going to have sports this fall? What's it going to look like? But the overall thing that we have to keep in mind is these are student athletes, right? So how are they going to get into classes? How are they going to make sure that they're getting the education that they're there for? And that's a big part of what you're doing right now too. So how has that been different for you, being that they can't be, in person in classes this year?
So let me back up a little bit. I work or oversee an amazing team of advisors and learning specialists. I have Sabrina, I have Danya, I have Taylor and Annalisa and Jose and Janine. I don't want to leave anybody out, but they did a great job of transitioning to home. And what literally they had to, like day 3, start working with their student athletes via Zoom to create their fall schedule. So they were doing their advising that they normally do in person. They had to do it online, and they also had to create a DocuSign form, which we had never worked with before, that laid out the academic plan, and the student would sign off on it. So would we, so that we had that agreement. So we started doing that, and then we found out we're not going to be able to do summer school because of budget. So we really had to go in there and find the students that were at crisis that needed a class and get them into a class. And then we find out we're not coming back in the fall. So now we're doing our orientations that we normally do in person when we meet with incoming students. We talk to them and give them a tour of the school and all that. We had to do that on email, not even Zoom. So these incoming student athletes have never met us yet, but we're telling them, hey, these are the GE areas you should be taking. We are hoping, once things kind of transition a little bit, that we'll eventually get to meet them in person, but we'll be doing Zoom meetings with their teams and their coaches to kind of like the name to the face and all that.
And how difficult, so much of what you do is in person with the student athletes and working hand in hand with them. It's got to be another learning curve for you who have done this for a while to do it over email and over Zoom and try and gauge what the needs are of a student athlete.
It is very difficult, especially I want to say for our international student athletes that are coming in. We already have the language barrier there that can sometimes be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets multiplied now when you're talking just email. So it's a little frustrating for them. It's definitely frustrating for us as well. But we just tell them, trust the process. Like we really have your best interests. They're going to help you pick out the right classes. But these kids don't know us. They're scared. I honestly think they are scared. There's no answer right now for anything. And so for them to put their trust, their college trust into us, is a scare factor for them.
And it's also something that you have to think about too with all the tutors and the other help that these student athletes usually get. Are they still going to have access to that type of stuff? And is it going to be the same, or is it going to be different because of the safety protocols?
So we do have a GA in place, Danya, who's been working with us throughout the year, who I can't say enough about, has been amazing with these kids. And she's been working with them via Zoom. There's been no in-person at all. As much as she really wants to, she every week, Julie, can I work with them? Like, no, Danya, not yet. But it's all been online. And then Annalisa, who's amazing at getting student tutors and student peer mentors. She's right now looking at the budget, figuring out what we can do, and we'll hire a couple of each, some tutors and peer mentors, and they will work with the kids online. And, normally it's our kids that are highly at risk coming in the door that we make tutoring mandatory and peer mentoring mandatory for. And then if student athletes that maybe not are as risk, we'll find the writing center on campus, or we'll find places or resources on campus that can help them.
So it's good. It's good to hear that student athletes have different resources still throughout the pandemic. I do want to switch gears for my final question, because I want you to tell the story of our tradition when we go to the Mountain West Basketball Championship tournament or a Mountain West football game down in Las Vegas. I don't know how it started, but I want you to tell the story.
What bums me out the most is that it won't happen this year.
I know.
So every time, every spring or every football game that was in Vegas, and Justin was there and I was there at midnight, we went on the New York roller coaster, and we probably go about 10 or 15 times with our buddy Dominic that used to work with us, and we just go and go and go on that roller coaster, and it was just a tradition. Like, it just happened.
I don't know how it started and how it became a midnight ride, but it's before the night before every game. I don't know why, but that is why we ended up doing it. Do you remember how it started? Because I don't.
I don't know if it was Matt Miller maybe telling us to get on it.
Oh, maybe.
Or Dom, but one of the guys was telling us, like,
I feel like it was a dare at first, and then we were both like, oh, that's not a dare. That just sounds fun.
Fun, yeah. No, I don't know how it started, but every year, I want to say it's been happening for at least 6-7 years. Yeah. We do this, and I'm going to miss that. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not only going to miss that, but I miss our student athletes right now. They are what brings me life, and not being able to see them face to face right now has been really difficult. The little texts they send or the emails they send that say they miss me or love me, they mean so much. And just, we need to get back there for them. And so I'm hoping that this happens soon, because it's all about the student athletes and their well-being.
Julie, it's always fun to talk to you. Better to see you for at least over Zoom. And stay healthy and stay safe.
All right. Talk to you later, Justin. Thank you.
Thanks.